have left the playing floor. They'll return here momentarily, and we'll put this show on the road. There are those who toil in the various basketball vineyards here who don't get a lot of credit, and these gentlemen at the scorer's bench are among them. To your right is Gus Rump of Des Moines, who takes care of fouls. Harold Baith and Bill Funt from Des Moines and Urbandale, respectively. The timers, John Van Wy, the bench official from Des Moines, Clyde Bittner, Waldo Geiger, who are the scorers from Des Moines and Iowa City, and Bob Wilson, of course, you hear pretty regularly on the introductions from Sioux City, the PA announcer. Gentlemen who do tremendously important work at that bench, thankless work. People watch them sitting there in their red jackets, many possibly wondering what they do, but what they do is tremendously significant when it comes to these games. And though we can't put her on camera, and I don't know if Frosty's going to be irritated with me, but I think Joni Mitchell deserves certainly a great deal of credit as well. This is a lovely young lady who takes care of that marvelous family of his and also takes care of him and many of us with a plethora of information. And you can't imagine the research that goes into doing ball games like this. It takes a great deal of study, a great deal of research, asking questions, meeting people. And she's just done that so brilliantly, and we're all deeply appreciative of those efforts, certainly here as far as this telecast crew is concerned. Well, now, we'll be back with the starting lineups after this word from your local station. Since last Tuesday, 23 games have gone by the boards, and now it all boils down to this one. And this one is filled with a great deal of anticipation. We have a splendid crowd on hand. It's not capacity. We don't want to mislead you, but it's a great crowd. Sioux City North advanced here as a result of this kind of effort, eliminating Lewis Central, Council Bluffs, and Substate. Then took care of Des Moines Roosevelt, the 8th-rated team in the 3A. And then in the semifinal, a stunning upset, Waterloo East, 82-75, and quite a ball game, one that Mitch suggested possibly one of the best we've seen in the tournament, and I concur. When it comes to Davenport Assumption, this is a veteran ball club. Sioux City North is a young ball club. Davenport Assumption was here last year. Of course, Sioux City North was too. They took care of Dubuque Hempstead in the sub-state. The first round, they sidelined Ankeny fairly easily. In the semifinal against Waverly, you can tell that did not come easy. A last-second shot by Mike Daniel. Actually, two of them missed the first one, muscled up the second one, and that's the reason they're here in this title game. And that's how these fans feel about it, getting ready for it. Mitch, I think I feel the same way.
A little bit of deja vu. It was a year ago tonight these teams played each other for consolation here in the auditorium, and if you remember, it was Assumption that came with a 14-point fourth quarter. It was Sioux City North getting only 5, and Assumption won at 46-45. That's the last time they met, and well, if we can have one like that tonight.
And that same guy with the last second to beat Waverly, Daniel hit the last second shot there. Let's go to Bob Wilson courtside, the introduction of these two championship teams.
This one will wrap it up for the 1982 state basketball season. On the scoreboard for the 3A championship ball game, listed as a visiting team, the Stars from Sioux City North High School. And listed as the home team, the Knights of Davenport Assumption. First, your non-starters for both ball clubs, and first for Sioux City North. Number 11 is Mark McDermott. Number 21, Dan Delzell. Number 25, Dave Delzell. Number 31, Jeff Hanslow. Number 15, Chad Welding. Number 33, Kirk Swanson. Number 43, Lee Saul. Number 51, Greg Mitchell. Number 53, Ken Gertis. And number 55, Ted Tillow. The assistant coach for the Stars is Mike Reed. For Davenport Assumption, number 10 is Mark Thies. Number 12, Bill Lamar. Number 22, Bill Argo. Number 24, Dave Daniel. Number 30, Bill Bush. Number 34, Perry Reap. Number 40, Dan Stoughton. Number 42, Mark Julian. Number 52, Sean McAleer. And number 54, Marty Ehrman. The assistant coach for the Knights is Dan Demmer. And now for your starting lineups. At a forward for Sioux City North is number 41, John Cochran. For Davenport Assumption, number 50 is Dean Tandesky. Number 35 is Jeff Donaldson. Number 32 is Steve Dockery. At the centers, number 45, Vince Tillo. Number 44, Mike Daniel. At the guards, number 13, Ernie Wingert. Number 20, Bryce McPherson. Number 23, Hopper Davis. And number 14, Matt McGowan. The head coach for the Sioux City North Stars is Tom Goodman, and for the Knights of Davenport Assumption, Glenn McPherson. Our officials for the ball game: the referee is Robert Kleiman from Waterloo, the umpire Robert Locker of Slater, the auxiliary bench official Robert Oldus of Iowa City. And now with Mrs. Evelyn Schoenberg at the organ, Mr. Bob Steele of West Des Moines on the vocal, Becky Arnold with the sign language, we'd like to present our nation's colors. Tonight, our nation's flag will be presented by the cadets of Des Moines Technical High School's Marine Corps Junior ROTC. Tech's Junior ROTC unit was named as the finest unit in the United States for this year.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
look at the house as we're ready to
Your
start.
attention, please.
And it's interesting to note how much they're into this ball game, as coach Glenn McPherson, when introduced, didn't even realize it. He was looking at his club. Tommy Goodman walked all the way from his bench down on the east end, all the way down near the west end, and caught McPherson right in front of his chair. You could tell Glenn was just a little taken aback, and he said something to Tommy, I think something like, "Hey, baby, I don't know where my head is. I'm sorry I didn't meet you."
That's called concentration.
Oh, boy.
Intensity. Here we go.
3A title, Tillo going up against Daniel. A couple of skyscrapers. And it is controlled right off the hat by Assumption, slapped out of bounds, and it'll go out of bounds to the Stars of Sioux City North, a young ball club starting 4 juniors and 1 senior. Davenport Assumption, a veteran ball club starting 4 seniors and 1 junior, and Matt McGowan, but he is a dandy. He has played extremely well for Assumption.
You'll hear the officials talking to these AAA Stars out there tonight. Bob Kleiman, Robert Locker, they're wired for sound as our IPBN mics have been on them all week long.
We're looking at a 1-3-1, or more correctly, the Stars are lost out of bounds. Johnny Cochran.
Both clubs just a little bit tight.
You could tell. You could tell during the national anthem we glanced over there.
Our thanks to the kids from Des Moines Tech. Their school closing this year. They'll merge with Des Moines North. Because of declining enrollments in the capital city, they've added a great deal to this state tournament over the years.
Dockery and McGowan playing catch. They let Tandeschi in on it. Come out to Dockery. McGowan. They go inside to Tandeschi. He might have been hacked. He was by Wingert. That's his first of the game.
Big crowds are here from both Sioux City North as well as Davenport Assumption. That's extreme northwest Iowa, extreme southeast Iowa. Beautiful day for travel, and they came to see it.
Here's Dockery, end line, front court. This down to east end. Against the 2-3 of Sioux City North. Dockery, McGowan. Looking for Daniel. They get it to him. Perfect. Daniel's last second bucket that beat Waverly, and that's why they're here.
Boy, he looks just a little bit smaller than the Statue of Liberty in there. He's a big man.
All right, we move quickly in the front court. That's Donaldson. And Donaldson had a beautiful game against Waterloo East. 32 points. He had 11 out of 12 field goals. A real gunner. Just a superb game. They go inside to Tillo, the space shuttle.
And so far, it's the 2 big men answering each other.
Both clubs have size. They like to go inside. They like to muscle. We are tied. Tillo.
Sioux City North has earned the title of Giant Killer. As you take a look at this replay, they want to go inside. He tries to dribble through there and thread the needle and got fouled en route.
The arm outstretched. As you were saying, Mitch, the Giant Killer beat number 8, beat number 1. Now they got to beat number 2. That's a tall order.
And in between, they also took out number 3 in Lewis Council Bluffs, Lewis Central.
Well, you do that. You do all of that, you are number 1. Slapped away, picked up by Hopper Davis, fouled by Daniel, his first.
Bob Locker, the official making that call. Let's listen. Showing pushing to the scoring table. These are the big heavyweights in the ring right now, and of course these officials are going to work hard to keep this type of game under control.
Johnny Cochran, the trigger man, one of the finest tennis players in the state of Iowa. Could go to college on a tennis scholarship alone. Tillo in plenty of company, gets out of there as he gives it to Donaldson, and gives it out to Hopper Davis. We're down to 6 minutes. We played a couple, and each team has a bucket.
And just like a good heavyweight 15-rounder, both these big heavies are just sparring right now. They're just kind of feeling each other out, seeing if they can find the weakness.
All right, on the inbounds pass, it is Johnny Cochran once again. Gives it to Hopper Davis. Hopper to Wingert. Baseline to Donaldson in traffic. He gets it up, but it doesn't go. The rebound taken off by Daniel. Over to McGowan. Tries to come down in a rush.
He can push it up the floor.
Davis picks him up. They slow it down, and they face that 2-3. Out on the point, we've got Steve Dockery. McGowan, Tandusky tries to go over the top, but Tillo on the rebound. 5:24 left to play, opening quarter. 3A championship. East Waterloo, the consolation titleist in 3A. Cedar Rapids Regis, the 2A champion. Ballard is the consolation champion in 2A. We have a traveling violation on Donaldson. It'll go out of bounds on the turnover to the Knights of Assumption.
You'll see a variety of stockings on Sioux City North tonight. Some of the kids have them pulled up. Some of them don't. They're all different.
This is Dockery bringing up the basketball. Gives it over to McPherson, Coach Glenn McPherson's son, and that makes Daddy proud.
You betcha.
Bryce McPherson, the number 2 scorer on this ball club, averaging 12, has just hit his first field goal, and for the second time, Assumption leads by a couple at 4-2.
Good measure of momentum by the Sioux City North Ball Club is the fact they've won their last 12 in a row. They lost 3 of the first 4.
On the shot, Cochran, but there was a push. Daniel, that's his second personal foul.
You got a pretty good war going on inside right now between Tillo and Daniel.
Daniel had a foul trouble in the opener against Ankeny. He had to sit out part of it. He scored 10. He also had 10 in the Waverly win.
Against Sioux City North's 12 consecutive, Davenport Assumption has won 7 straight.
Each team with a pair of fouls, team fouls. All right, here's Cochran, end line, front court. And that's the west court here at Betts Auditorium. Hopper Davis. He'll be back. Looking inside against that zone. Both teams have an excellent zone. Tough to penetrate.
And this Sioux City North is a kiddie core also, Mark. That's a young basketball team.
Isn't it? 4 juniors. Dockery trying the steal, didn't pull it off. Gives Cochran the shot. Doesn't go. The rebound, Wingert.
Got it.
Ernie Wingert. He had 9 in the win over Waterloo East, averaging 6.5. He has his first 2 here, only 16 years old.
Whereas Assumption is senior dominated, this better be their year.
We're tied at 4-all, second time. Traveling. Shuffled his feet. Just under 4 minutes. You see Tandeschi, who had a spectacular game against Ankeny, 24-7.
Couldn't be
7 rebounds.
More even than 2 team fouls each and 4-4 for score.
North is yet to lead in this ball game.
They've got the chance right now because they have the ball.
Cochran gives to Davis, front court. Davis knows better than to challenge on the zone and moves it over on the far side to Wingert. Vince Tillo. The rebound, battle for, coming up with it is Donaldson. Look out, overlay. And McGowan picks it off.
Donaldson's had a good tournament.
McGowan has 2 for Assumption. He has played very well, possibly better than anybody on the ball club, at least in our estimation. Okay, Dockery goes out to set it up again. Starter last year, he was reserve on that 80 team that was here too, Mitch.
Skyview.
Dockery rejected beautifully by Tillo. No, Tillo fouled it.
And Tillo, who's had foul trouble, is not happy with that call. Watch him come down, trying to drive inside, and Tillo goes up to make the block. He thought he got ball, but the referee said he got wrist.
Looked like a good play. But some contact, and as a result, Dockery goes to the line. We're at 4-all. Assumption could retake the lead. North has never led.
Steve Dockery at the line had 2 bad ankles in the district finals, but he hasn't limped a lick that I've noticed here in the state tournament.
63% are from the line. 5 in the opener against Ankeny, 6 against Waverly, and he's got 2 here. Perfect. And for the 3rd time, Assumption has grabbed the lead. Almost thrown away, no almost about it. It was touched, however, by Daniel, so they'll re-award the ball to the Stars of North.
Sioux City
Glenn McPherson
played a great zone defense against Des Moines Roosevelt. Played excellent also against East Waterloo, but I thought Roosevelt is where their zone was just awesome.
These 2 teams have been to this well a few times. They would like to win. They have never won a state championship.
Tommy Goodman, the Sioux City coach who goes into the Hall of Fame tonight, said the semifinal win was the biggest win of his life.
Cochran gets iron, but that's all. Beautiful behind the back pass by McPherson.
Wasn't that sweet?
Yep. McPherson will try the shot.
Oh. The man who made the behind the back pass on the outlet came down and got the shot from the corner.
Assist by Dockery. It is 8-4. The difference is 4. Biggest lead of the ball game.
No harm, no foul out in front.
You saw Tandeschi hit the floor. Cochran. Donaldson. They can't put it in the hole. And that's the difference, of course. 2 zones against each other. For one it goes in, the other it doesn't. McPherson baseline to Daniel. Look out. Not this time. The rebound battle floor. Up goes Tandeschi, is fouled by Tillo.
45, got a foul, 45.
That's 3 on Tillo.
Oh.
That's a problem.
Is he in trouble? Tommy Goodman is really on the referee over there.
foul on 4, 5 blue.
Goodman wants a
Right
timeout.
out of bounds.
3 fouls
He
on
gets
Tillo.
the timeout. Now this word from your local station.
Blue card.
You're looking at a very irritated coach in Tom Goodman. This game early has taken a dramatic turn.
Tommy picked up a technical yesterday when he inadvertently slipped off the bench.
Tillo has not only picked up 3 fouls and moved out, but now Sioux City North has committed 4 fouls as a team, which means it'll put Assumption into the 1-1. There's Glenn McPherson.
And you watch him go to big Mike Daniel now and put the pressure on the inside.
They have put Greg Mitchell, a 6'5" senior, in. He's averaging 3 points to replace Tillo. Mitchell will work hard, but he is no Tillo. Maybe he'll make me eat those words.
Well, sometimes in a pressure situation, the kid rises to the occasion and has his career day. I'm sure Tommy Goodman's hoping so.
All right, here's Dockery up on top on the 2-3.
1:50, first quarter.
McPherson, rather, to Dockery. McGowan against Hopper Davis. Dockery. They're putting into a hole. That's the difference. They're shooting beautifully here in the opening quarter. The spread is 6.
I'm sure that Sioux City North is wondering what can happen in a matter of a day. Yesterday in the second half against Sioux City East, they made 16 out of 19 from the field. That's 71%. Now they can't buy one.
They had a beautiful shooting day all told yesterday. But, as you said, that's yesterday. They re-award the ball. Taking it out is Johnny Cochran.
Bill Davis right there. Hopper, they call him because of long arms and legs.
Tries to buy one from 22 feet. He cannot. The rebound goes to Daniel. Dockery comes down in a rush. Drops it for McGowan. The rebound picked off by Greg Mitchell.
Well, he's the man of the moment right now with 1 minute to go.
Coming down to a minute to play. Right. Stolen by Dockery against Hopper Davis. Hopper Davis with the rebound. Foul from behind by McPherson. Great play by Davis.
Oh, intimidation. He let him hear the footsteps, so he couldn't make the drive in. Hopper pulled up short as a trailer, got the rebound, then got the foul. That was a great play by Davis in the blue right here, number 22, as he goes up, gets it. But the intimidation just followed him down there.
And his speed. He caught up to Dockery, got position.
He has speed like a kangaroo. Now Mike Daniel is going out for a breather.
And they're putting in Jerry Riepe, R-I-E-P-E. He is a 6'2" junior, averaging 3 points a ball game. He's played in 17 regular season games, has played in both tournament games. Hopper Davis, 50 seconds left, first quarter.
Looking for help.
And the Stars right now are down by 6. Against the press, they go to Donaldson. Over on the far side, Wingert. Nice move, he traveled. Too nice.
Right here.
38 seconds. The ball to Assumption. The Knights, the red and white, second rated, looking for their first title. So are the Stars.
Sioux City North and Des Moines Roosevelt both started out about like this in that first quarter. Low scoring, 7-6. First quarter score, 13-13 at the half. You're going for one shot right now if you're a Knight.
2 clubs here for the 3rd straight year. Dug away and lost out of bounds. Mitchell can't believe it. He stole it.
Blues ball. Blues ball.
It is Blues ball.
Yep.
Blues ball.
Blues ball, that's right.
And
Tommy Goodman was about to have a cardiac over there.
Yep.
Blues ball's the right call. At referee, Bob Locker from Slater's, the referee, made the call.
everybody was under the impression, of course, that the ball was going out to Assumption.
Keep in mind, you can hear those referees better than the players can.
That's right.
It's noisy where they are.
Their microphones are keyed right into our headphones. We're down to 7 seconds. Hopper Davis, 15-footer, no. The rebound pulled off. Looked like a travel. There's the shot. And that's it. The end of the first quarter with the score. Davenport Assumption 10, Sioux City North 4. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Our IPBN cameras and director catch that still motion right in the middle of a flash catching those cheerleaders.
Happiness is a 6-point lead.
Hopper Davis will be jumping up against Daniel, who's been reinserted. Davenport, Assumption 7-6 in rebounds. We're tied up in turnovers at 4. And North has 4 fouls to 3 team fouls for Assumption.
Tillo normally would be the jumper.
McPherson and Dockery both with 4 points. Kicked out of bounds. It was kicked out by the Stars. They will give the ball out of bounds to Assumption, and taking it out of bounds will be Bryce McPherson, B-R-I-C-E, Coach Glenn McPherson's son. It's a happy association, father and son. We have several of them in the tournament. And in each instance, every coach has said it's a pleasure to have the boy there. Tandeschi trying to work against Mitchell. Back to Tandeschi over Mitchell. It's short. Rebound picked off nicely by Donaldson. Donaldson and Cochran have been held in check. Tillo has only 2 points. Wingard has 2. That's it for Sioux City for 1 quarter of play. We're into the second just barely by about 30 seconds. Wingard, who has 1 basket, tries to get another. Cannot. Daniel gets a rebound. No, lost it. Donaldson rebounds. Puts it up again. No good. Donaldson a 3rd time.
Wow, is he doing the job with the head and shoulder fakes in there. Couldn't get fouled, but tenacious. Try again.
I think he was expecting that foul, Frosty. 10-6.
And, of course, 4 points in modern-day basketball can evaporate mighty quick.
North has yet to lead, however. Assumption's had the hammer since the outset. Man-to-man by North. Changed their defense. They drop it to McPherson. He walked. Under 7. Second period. On the turnover, North has the basketball and a chance to make it a 2-point ball game. This is going to be a head knocker. I got a feeling these 2 people are going to go at each other.
They've sure got a lot of respect for each other. You can tell that.
They're solid ball clubs. One a senior veteran ball club, the other a young junior ball club.
Neither one has been this far before.
Hopper Davis. No.
Chance to win it all. Assumption was a runner-up.
Rebound Mitchell. It doesn't go, but he was fouled. McGowan. That is Matt's first personal foul.
Assumption has been 2nd. They've been 3rd.
4 team fouls apiece, but that was a shooting foul.
There you can see the action in under the bucket right there. Trying to go back up. He was fouled on the way up.
McGowan reaching in with that left hand. Now we go to Mitchell. He is a 47%er, a reserve last year. Had chicken pox in some of the tourney games.
He's okay now.
And okay from the free throw line. 10-7. For a 47%er, he gets the first of a pair.
He's probably had dreams about a night like tonight, coming in as a replacement.
Okay, a couple of clutch free throws. 10-8. It's a 2-point ball game. McPherson working against Wingard. 2 nifty guards, man-to-man defense. McGowan looking into Daniels. He finds him. Nice move by Daniel.
College move.
4 points for Mike Daniel. He's averaging 14. He has had 10 each in the 2 previous games. It's a 4-point game. Mitchell gives it out to Cochran. Wingard drives down, tries to pass it out. Daniel all over the place.
Well, he takes up a lot of room in there.
You bet. Sweeps the ball in. And McPherson handles it, backs off. They set up their offense. The Stars started with a zone, have gone to a man-to-man, hoping to change things a little bit. And it has helped to some degree. That's McGowan handling.
Get off of him.
They keep looking in at the aircraft carrier. Daniel from the outside. McPherson, bango. 6 points for him on 3 field goals.
Down to 5 minutes and 25 seconds.
And there's that 6-point lead for the second time. Assumption, its biggest. Cochran. Mitchell. Cochran. Hopper still looking for his first bucket. The follow-up. No, not good by, what was that, Donaldson on the
Greg
attempt?
Mitchell.
That was Mitchell missing it. Almost lost out of bounds. McGowan picks it up. Daniel out in front of McPherson. We're under 5.
Every minute that ticks off, of course, Mike Daniel, or rather Tillo, gets a little bit more out of foul trouble sitting there over on the bench. 3 quick ones.
McPherson.
He can shoot.
Oh,
Drills it.
4 field goals, and they've all come from the outside. We have a timeout being called by the Stars. Now this word from your local station. The difference so far in the ball game, pretty easy to assess. One team is shooting the lights out. The other is not. And the name of the game, of course, is score. When you get your shot, and as Mitch pointed out, Sioux City North could shoot yesterday. They cannot so far here this evening.
And Tillo is about to come back into your ball game. You think they're shaking the dice and gambling with 4:40 to go in the first half. You're bringing in your star player with 3 personal fouls. Greg Mitchell did not do that all that bad while he was in there.
No, he did not. I think I can recall, one basket by Daniel when he was in there. So he did a fair-to-middle job.
You watch Sioux City right now with Tillo in there, but when Daniel gets a chance, watch him take him inside and try and get that other foul.
There it is, bad pass, slapped away. McGowan has it.
Now at the other end, you'll see him challenge Tillo when they go inside.
They're back to the 2-3. Or are they?
And both teams will be shooting if there are any fouls.
Yeah, it's man-to-man. Boy, Daniel and Tillo are really working McGowan. One team is shooting, the other isn't. McGowan, his first basket.
It's simple as that.
He's averaging 9. Tillo in the front court with the left hand. Donaldson giving it over to Hopper Davis. 18-8, the spread is 10. Biggest lead of the night. Early going, Tillo. He is fouled by Tandeschi. I think before the shot, we'll wait and see.
Yes, he was.
So it'll be the 1-1.
Tandeschi had a couple of real good games coming down the tournament trail. The last time out wasn't that great. Take a look in here. You'll see the foul as they take the pass into Tillo. Tandeschi's going to try and cover him when he rolls back around, but he got him off his feet.
Tillo lost the ball momentarily. Had he had it cleanly, he would have gone up a little bit sooner. Tillo's a 60%er from the line.
Vince,
captain of this ball club,
came the first player ever at Sioux City North to go to the state tournament 3 times in a row. His brother Johnny Tillo on the 1975 tournament team, and of course was a star then at Iowa State University.
Gets 1 out of 2, makes it 18-9, and Daniel comes down, feeds it off, picked off very nicely by Johnny Cochran.
Boy, that was a power pass, though, had it gone.
Daniel put himself up in the air. He had to put the ball somewhere. Davis goes inside to go to Donaldson. The sweeping layup with the right hand. Pretty shot by Donaldson, his second field goal. Only 16 years old.
When Tillo comes in, Donaldson becomes more open to work up and down that baseline.
Stolen by Donaldson. 2-on-1. That's McPherson working against him. He lays it up and in. It will count, and McPherson fouled him.
So you close the gap to 18-13, and you're going to get one more kick at the can. But Davenport Assumption wants timeout.
Timeout on the floor. Now this word from your local station. Governor. Oh.
Well, Mark, here's the action. Going back to that last play, Donaldson got the breakaway, came down. Here's where he got fouled by McPherson going by. But he was in the act of shooting because he left his feet to lay it up there. That's why when we go back to action now, he'll be at the free throw line. It's 18-13. But this can suddenly be back to a 4-point ball game with still 3:05 to go in the first half.
It was a 10-point ball game just a few moments ago.
When the clubs met last year for consolation a year ago tonight, it wasn't exactly high scoring at halftime. The North Stars led the Knights 23-21 at halftime.
Donaldson, 71% shooter on the line to get one. 15 in the opening game against Des Moines Roosevelt, 32 against Waterloo East. He picks up his 7th here. Seems to be in the right place at the right time most of the time.
Well, that kid had 17 rebounds and 17 points in the big win at the Sub-State over Council Bluffs Lewis Central.
So we're under 3. Assumption with the ball and the lead by 4. Into Daniel. Goes over the top of Donaldson.
If you've noticed, they're not matching up Tillo on Daniel down below. It's Donaldson on Daniel because of the 3 fouls.
Sure. Daniel did milk him, and you know it. Hopper Davis gives it to Tillo. To Donaldson around Daniel. Oh,
When Tillo comes in, Donaldson gets more room to operate on the baseline, and that's where he'll hurt you.
French pastry by Donaldson. Total of 9. Daniel has a couple of fouls. He wants to be careful, too. That's Dockery giving it off to Daniel to McGowan. He's a shooter.
He has had an excellent state tournament.
You betcha. 22-16. Hopper Davis brings it down. Wingert. It's going to be called on Daniel. Some of the officials in the crowd don't think so.
You take another look at it. Robert Locker's the man that made the call, and there he's moving, and so that's why it was called blocking. Bob Locker, boy, he's been here before. 7th state tournament that he's refereed.
So we have 2 on Dean Tandeschi.
Nothing superstitious about that kid, number 13.
Wingert goes quietly about his business. This kid is tough. 8 in the first game, 9 in the second. Misses the free throw. Tandeschi hauls it down. Assumption with the ball and lead. 22-16. We're under 2. First half of play. It was 10-4 at the quarter. Assumption. Matter of fact, North has never led. It's been tied twice at 2 and at 4. Daniel, and I think he is fouled by Donaldson. He is.
Daniel draws those fouls. He's good at that. At the line, these teams match up this way on the season. Sioux City North shot 62%, but Assumption shot 66%.
Here's a look at the action again as they go inside
to Daniel.
Pass to Daniel, and even before he could get moving, Donaldson, I think he had some thought on possibly slapping the ball away. We have a change coming up for Assumption.
Must be for the shooter.
Right, and that's Daniel, who is a 66%er getting his first free throw. Davenport Assumption is shooting the ball here. They've hit all of their free throws. That's 3. They've been outstanding from the field.
He was 3rd in the scoring derby here last year.
1 out of 2. Hopper Davis with the ball with 1:45 left. Spread is 7. Wingert. Johnny Cochran.
Boom.
Bingo.
Well, they find the range. That could sure make a difference.
So Cochran has his first scoring.
1.5 minutes.
He's averaging 11. Had 8 in the opening ball game. 9 in the second one against East Waterloo. It's a 5-point ball game. Assumption by Nicholsworth with the left hand. Dockery, McPherson, McGowan. Dockery. Daniel against Donaldson. Inside, Tandeschi over Tillo.
Oh! How do you stop that one?
You don't. Tandeschi with the big hook. His first scoring of the ball game. 25-18. Who touched it last? It was touched last by Assumption. They'll re-award the ball to Sioux City North, and here's an Assumption change. As coming into the lineup is Reapy for the second time. He's giving Daniel a spell.
Well, his counterpart, Tillo, not voluntarily had the big rest. They want those kids to be even down the stretch.
Right. There's Tillo giving off on the near side to Cochran. 2 in a row.
Found his spot.
25-20. About 5. Dockery to McGowan. McGowan unguarded, now picked up by Wingert. Reapy goes inside to Daniel, slapped away. Hopper Davis picks it up. Here come the Stars, heading west of Des Moines.
Hopper took a look to see if the fast break was there, but they just don't break away very often.
They're going to go down for 1.
Well, at halftime in 20 seconds, is Tom Goodman going to stay out here and go into the Hall of Fame or go in the locker room?
It's going to be interesting, especially trailing. Hopper Davis, the bomb. A shooting star. Davis's first scoring. Reapy on the shot attempt. Taken off by Wingert. 2 seconds left, and the half should come to an end. It does. That's the end of the first half with the score. Davenport Assumption 25, Sioux City North 22. We'll be back after this word from your local station.
Against some mighty tough competition. So here they are. Let's meet them. First of all, from Central Iowa, here's Coach Larry Ireland and the Ankeny Hawks. Presenting a participation trophy and medals to the players and school are 2 members of the IHSAA Board of Control, Dr. Jim Mitchell representing the Department of Public Instruction, and the Ankeny High principal, Larry Parr. How about another nice hand for the Ankeny Hawks? Next we go to the southeastern part of the state and meet Coach Don Gibbs and the Burlington Greyhounds. Burlington High. Here's a school and a coach who have appeared in our state tournament many, many times before. Meet Coach Don King and the Cedar Rapids Washington Warriors. The Washington Warriors. And of course, another school that has a long, long history of great state tournament success. Meet Coach Ron Adcock and the Des Moines Roosevelt Rough Riders. Roosevelt High. Ladies and gentlemen, the Iowa High School Athletic Directors Association is acknowledged to be one of the strongest in the country. And tonight, their current president, Paul Stopples, is going to make a special presentation to the Iowa High School Athletic Director of the Year. And I might add that the recipient of this honor has also been chosen Athletic Director of the Year in 9 state Central America competition and is one of 6 finalists in the entire nation for High School Athletic Director of the Year. So at this time, Paul Stopples will present the Iowa Athletic Director of the Year Award to George Long of Urbandale, accompanied by his wife, Marie. How about a nice hand for them? And we might add, too, that we wish you a lot of luck in the competition for that National AD of the Year honor. Good luck. You know, for several years now, we've been giving what we call the School Administrator Awards. A lot of coaches and players obtain a lot of success and a lot of credit for the success of their programs. But I think even most coaches would agree that if they have a successful program, much of the credit should go to their school's administration. Those superintendents and principals and ADs are kind of the unsung heroes. That's the purpose of this award, to honor some of these school administrators who in their own schools have had very, very successful interscholastic programs. And we have 6 of them to honor this evening. First of all, we'd like you to meet Mrs. Mert Albrecht of Cedar Falls, standing in for her husband, Jim. Jim's had an out-of-state commitment this evening and could not be with us, but a School Administrator Award to Jim Albrecht of Cedar Falls, and here accepting his wife, Mert. Next up, an administrator who's been at a couple of schools during his career. They've had very successful programs at each. Belmont and currently principal at Urbandale. Meet Ernie Doringsfeld and wife Donna. Everybody down in the southwestern part of the state was saddened by the death recently of the principal at Atlantic High for some 25 years, Darrell Eblin, very popular with the students at his school, very well known and respected by the educators of that area. Here to accept the award for Darrell Eblin is Mrs. Virginia Eblin and son Doug. A gentleman who has served in many communities in the state and with great success at each. Meet Administrator Award recipient Bob Horsfall and wife Donna, now of Webster City. Next up, a gentleman who has served as an administrator in Iowa for a good number of years and a very, very successful athletic coach in his own right with some girls' teams, particularly with high finishes in state tournament play. Here's Lloyd Symester and wife Charlotte of Dunkerton. And finally, another of those top-notch athletic directors that we have in our state. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, this gentleman from Iowa City, the athletic director of the schools there, was named National Athletic Director of the Year. Here's Bob White and wife June of Iowa City. How about another nice hand for some of those people behind the scenes, the administrators who administer some of our tremendous programs. And now it's Hall of Fame time. This is always a great pleasure to look back at past history of our tournament and some of the great players and coaches who have made the tournament what it is today. We have 6 that we're going to induct into our Basketball Hall of Fame this year. 3 coaches and 3 players, and we'd like for you to meet them right now. Let's begin, first of all, with the coaching category. A gentleman with over 20 years of service as a basketball coach at several Iowa communities, over 300 wins, great success particularly at Ames High School, where in a 9-year period, he won 75% of his games and brought no less than 5 teams to the state tournament. Not many coaches have brought more than that. His career was capped off by a state championship, but he also had several other high finishes at state. Meet Hall of Fame coach from Ames, Coach George Duval and wife Theone. Our next coach inductee, another veteran of over 20 years of service, well over 300 wins, many high finishes in our state tournament. Some of you will recall those great Calumet teams that brought us so many thrills. They won a state championship and had 2 or 3 other very high finishes in our state tournament. Here is Hall of Fame coach, formerly Calumet and recently an employee of the Sioux City school system, Ray Knauer. Finally, this one goes back a few years, back into the late 20s and early 30s, a gentleman now deceased who coached primarily at Oskaloosa High School. In a 10-year period there, he won 80% of his basketball games and brought 4 teams in 10 years to the state tournament. Also well known as a track and football coach. Here to accept the honor for his late father, Frank Markley, is Frank Markley, Jr. And those are the coach inductees for 1982. Now let's turn our attention to the players. And we begin with a gentleman that back in the early 1960s led Cedar Rapids Regis to state tournament play, led the state tournament in scoring 1 year, was on a championship team, later played at Northwestern University. Meet Hall of Famer, Cedar Rapids Regis. That would be, of course, Mr. Jim Cummins, along with Mrs. Cummins from Cedar Rapids Regis. Now we go to Fort Dodge High School. Now we go to Fort Dodge High School, a 2-time All-Stater at Fort Dodge High, also an outstanding baseball player, by the way, competed in both those sports at Iowa State University, and of course, a very successful coach also. Hall of Fame player from Fort Dodge, meet Tom Goodman and wife Connie. And finally, from Iowa City, we go to the late 1940s. A tremendous athlete who won 14 high school letters, was a 2-time All-Stater in both football and basketball, played on a mythical state championship football team, played in the state basketball tournament on a state championship team. Later, a performer at the State University of Iowa. Meet Hall of Famer from Iowa City, Gene Hetrick and Maryland. Another great lineup of Hall of Famers. How about a nice hand for all of them?
We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium after this word from your local station. Intermission, there's the score. Assumption 25-22 over Sioux City North in our 3A championship. And courtside to Frosty Mitchell and the head man with Iowa Boys High School Athletics.
Nobody is busier than this man this time of the year. His name, of course, Bernie Sagaw. And Bernie's just in charge of everything that happens athletically at the Iowa High School Athletic Association. Bernie, we're right down to the final half of basketball season. It's been a big week. Has it been a good week?
It's been a great week. We've had great fans, great teams. Really and truly, the enthusiasm we've had this week's just been overwhelming.
Well, Bernie, recently a survey I know was taken in Iowa, pertains to athletics, but it also pertained to athletes in the classroom, academics. How do you see that?
Well, it was a great experiment, really. A gentleman up in Sibley, Iowa, by the name of Mike Schaefer, had a little experiment that he had. And over 7,000 juniors of last year, we asked over 70 schools to participate in the study, and the question was asked about academics and athletics, and they found out that the youngsters who do not compete in athletics had a 2.3 average. Those who are in one sport had a 2.6, and those in two sports were 2.8. And so it kind of shows academics and athletics go hand in hand.
Bernie, that is so important. Why don't you just look at the camera and tell them again? I think we ought to underline that.
Well, all kidding aside, the athletics and academics are what we're really after here in the state of Iowa, and I'm not going to be apologetic. Sometimes we're too modest. We have the finest school system in America, and I like to think that activities play an important part in that, and I think the academics and the athletics just go hand in hand, and that's why I think we have such super education in our state.
Well, Bernie, that's, I'm sure, how you feel it all works together then in the overall educational system.
There's no doubt about it. We've had so many experiments in the past. We just know the youngsters are involved in activities, they're just going to do better at school.
Bernie, how do you see the future of athletics? Everybody's hearing about budget crunch and declining enrollment. Obviously, there's less kids in things like English class and history, but how about activities?
There are more activities than ever before, and the best thing about it, the future of our country is in education, and I think it's in activities. And we're going to figure this budget thing out, but we're still going to do a good job for the young people, because that's why in Iowa we've got the best fans, the best athletes, the best students, and that's why we got so much pride in the state, and we're not going to sacrifice it for a few dollars.
And your program appears to me to be growing. This year, you went to an expanded football playoff system. Did it work?
Worked real well. As a matter of fact, we had probably as fine a football as we've ever had. We split the bottom class into 2 equal parts, and it proved to be very satisfactory. Last year, we went to 4 classes in baseball, and I think we had one of the finest baseball programs you could have for young people. What I'm saying, and some people get the wrong impression that I'm bragging, no. It's my job and my opportunity to work for the school people in the state of Iowa. The school boards hire competent administrators. They set the rules and regulations, and I get to carry them out, and you just can't have a better job than that.
Okay, Bernie, I'm not trying to go behind the closed walls of the boardroom, but is there anything new coming up that we can know about?
No, not really. I think we've got a pretty fine program, and we have a few little things like realignment of conferences may come into playing, the combining of athletic teams, which will be new and different in our state. But I think we'll do a good job with whatever we have to do because the school people are in favor of these programs.
All right, Bernie, love your enthusiasm, love the great things that you've done for high school boys and people. You're looking at the best friend that high school kids in Iowa ever had. Bernie Sagaw, thank you.
My pleasure.
And let's go back to another good friend, Mark Zelich.
Gentlemen, our pleasure. Are we ready for the second half? You can tell we're ready for the second half if that's any indication. We have highlights of the first half now that both teams are back on the floor. We're going to take a look, first of all, at Assumption in action in the big first quarter. You see McGowan going down to Daniel, and Daniel doing what comes naturally. He had a total of 7 points in the first half. Over on the far side now, we take a look at the shooting of Bryce McPherson. Here's McPherson from the outside. And McPherson doing some dandy shooting as we take a look once more at McPherson from the outside at about 18 to 19 feet away. He had 4 field goals, a total of 8. When it came to Sioux City North, we see a feed underneath. Hopper Davis with a nice feed, and then that sweeping right hand by Donaldson. Now we're going to see a steal come up as the ball is coming in. Intended in there for McGowan, dug away by Donaldson. He goes down court, was fouled by McPherson, had control, laid it up with the left hand, and scored. Now here is Vince Tillo back in the lineup. He goes to Donaldson. Donaldson around Daniel very nicely, and then the right hand layup. And last but not least, Tandeschi with a fine hook shot underneath. The big guy gets it, goes to his left. Look at this. Bango, Tandeschi's only bucket of the first half. And we'll be back with the start of the second half after this word from your local station. Well, that graphic gives you the tail of the tape. Interesting to note that Assumption hit 11 out of 17. Now, that's close to 65%. The only saving grace for Sioux City North is they didn't shoot more because Assumption was really putting it in the hole. That's a sparkling first half of shooting. However, they only had 2 more field goals because North went to the well 23 times, hitting 9 for 39%. As far as the free throws are concerned, and not too much discrepancy there, the free throw shooting percentage, here again, not too many discrepancies. Turnovers, Assumption led having 4 more, and rebounding is pretty even with North having the edge by about 3. So the difference here is 3 points, and it's 25 to 22 with 2 more field goals registered by Davenport Assumption, but we had 1 more free throw by Sioux City North. So we have another full half of basketball to go. It's obviously anybody's ball game, and at the conclusion of it, somebody's going to reign as a 3A champion and somebody's going to be second. Neither one of these teams have ever won the championship before. As Mitch told you, they met a year ago for 3rd place, and it was a last-second basket by Daniel that won it on that occasion for Davenport Assumption. Will history repeat itself? Well, Mr. Daniel is the last-second man. He hit the last-second shot that beat Waverly, that last-second shot last year. Who knows? One thing we do know, these 2 clubs have gone at it pretty good here in the first half. Good basketball game. Glenn McPherson, the veteran coach, nice guy, Davenport Assumption Knights, coming in here, rated number 2 team in the state of Iowa. Frosty, were they ranked number 1?
Yes, they were until they lost to Bettendorf. Of course, there are 3 different surveys or 3 different polls. We usually mostly the Des Moines Register poll because statewide that they mark them 3 classes the way they go into tournament.
They have had some heartbreakers. You know, they were runner-up in 80 to Dubuque Wahlert. In 81, the reason they got into the consolation round is because Dubuque Wahlert bumped them again. So they've been very, very close. But then again, Sioux City North, too, when you're down here 3 years in a row, and then before that in 75, and Tom Goodman was here with that team on all 4 of those occasions, and each one playing so well, losing very close ball games. It's kind of heartbreaking. So they want this one. These 2 teams want this one desperately. And that's why we've had such a good ball game.
Mark, as a matter of fact, it's been a while since either one of these cities have been in the winner's circle, yet alone the schools. Last time Sioux City won a championship was Sioux City East in 1934. That was over Waterloo West, and the last time Davenport had one was the Davenport West win over Ottumwa in 1971.
Tom Goodman answered your question too, Mitch, on whether or not he's going to show up for the awards. He showed up, chewing that gum a mile a minute.
Is he stripped down for action? He's got the jacket and the tie off now. No more ceremonies.
All right, Tillo is in. He has 3 personal fouls going up against Daniel, who has a couple. The 2 aircraft carriers, center jump circle, final 16 minutes. 3A title. Big one. The tip is controlled by Davenport Assumption. That's the way they open the ball game. That's Dockery with it. He gives it to McPherson along with Daniel, Tandeschi, and McGowan now handling the ball. That's their lineup. That's a traveling violation. Sioux City North has Tillo in the lineup along with Cochran and Donaldson. And at the guards, as you see him putting it in, is Cochran, and taking it is Hopper Davis. That's Davis with that lackadaisical right-hand dribble.
Mr. Calm and cool and collected, isn't he?
Yeah, we saw him for the first time last year. He leads this ball club now from the guard position. He could play inside. Great spring. Tillo over the top of Daniel. Doesn't work. Tillo! The space shuttle.
Well, he's not near the foul trouble he was in the first half. Now you've got 3 with less than 2 quarters to play, and he'll take it to it a little bit more.
That's 5 for Tillo. It's a 1-point ball game. North, however, has never led in this ball game. McGowan. The long rebound swept up by Tillo. Gives it to Hopper Davis, and here we go to the east end of the court at Betts Auditorium in Des Moines. Glad to have you aboard. Championship basketball. 24th game of this honored tournament series. Just some iron. Tillo gets it. From the far side, Cochran. Daniel takes it away from Tillo on the rebound.
Oh,
here come the Knights.
Big guys are battling.
Lead pass down to McGowan. He tries to save it. Does. McPherson, look out.
That pass back to McGowan was big league.
10 points for McPherson, shooting very well. He has 5 field goals. He's got a hot hand tonight. The whole team has. Tillo from the inside.
He's just a mango. He's possessed right now.
27-26. Davenport Assumption has the hammer. We were tied at 4-all the last time. Prior to that at 2-all. There's the pass to McGowan against the 2-3. Daniel over the top of Donaldson. It falls.
Was that some kind of an assist by McGowan again? 2 straight times down. He's had a hand in the scoring.
9 for Daniel. See him fronting Tillo. Over to Cochran. Hopper Davis. Cochran. Nothing inside. Baseline Donaldson. Inside Tillo. They're going to call it on Tandeschi.
Yep.
His 3rd.
And the referee was right in there to take a look at that as Tillo came down. Tandeschi didn't quite agree with the call. Bob Kleiman, the man from Waterloo, working his 12th straight tournament that called it. He's the development director at Columbus Waterloo High School.
End line, East Court. Cochran. Out to Hopper Davis. Back to Cochran. Cocks the trigger, pulls it. Cochran's back in the ball game. He has a total of 6 3 field goals. 29-28. Tillo on the outside, as Mitch mentioned earlier, with those 3 fouls. They put him out there on Dockery. They've given Donaldson the chore of handling Daniel, and that is a chore. Here's that matchup. Nope, it was Cochran who bumped him. Cochran matched up now on Daniel.
Bumping. There's a pretty good war going on in underneath there, and you'll see it right here as the pass comes in. That's Daniel. Now you'll see number 41 come into the picture from behind. He bumped him with a
Picks
tummy.
up his first personal foul.
So you match up the fouls, one each team.
They drop it inside for Daniel. It goes over Tillo, rejected beautifully by Tillo. Top defense. Picked up by Cochran. They come down in a hurry or try to. Slapped out of bounds. Touch last by Tandeschi. The Stars will have the ball and a chance to take over the lead for the first time tonight. They've never led.
Tillo is not walking on eggs just because he has 3 fouls. He's decided to see how long he can go full tilt.
Nobody is. Daniel and Tandeschi are playing tough too. Great camera work as our people moving those cameras around, giving you some great shots. IPBM with us during their Friends Week. Hopper Davis, crowd on the zone, gets it out to Cochran. We're down to 5 minutes. Donaldson, it's there, a foul upcoming. They whistle it against Tandeschi.
North high lead.
North, for the first time tonight, leads. There's a timeout on the floor. Now this word from your local station. So for the first time tonight, you see the Stars take the lead, and here in slow motion is how they did it. Donaldson with the move in the lane, getting his 11th point. He had 32 biggies in the Waterloo East win. He'll be getting a free throw as well with 4:59 left to play in the third.
And Jeff Donaldson on that bucket moved into second place in the scoring derby with 58 points. The leader's Fred Franklin from East Waterloo, but of course he's all done. Donaldson could win it yet.
71% shooter. 12 points for Donaldson. 15 in the opener, 32. Total of 47 coming in. He now has 13. So that rounds out what, 60?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Mitch. I'm one of those guys who says never good in math. All right, baseline to Tandeschi. Around the outside of Star zone now. Assumption looking in at Daniel from the outside. Dockery. Follow up. Dockery, he goes up. I think Tillo. No. Yeah, it was Tillo.
Uh-oh, that's trouble. Right here in River City. Tillo with 4, and you still got 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and Tommy Goodman's going to get him out of there.
Yep, and we're going to put Greg Mitchell in, the 6'5" senior. He replaced him earlier and has been doing that all season long.
Strategy there was to have Tillo go as hard as he could go, as long as he could go, until he got the 4th one.
So on the line we have Dockery, a 63%er. There's a good look at the Hall of Famer, Tom Goodman.
And a chance to tie up a ball game right here.
Yeah, Dockery hit 2 out of 2 earlier.
Kid's a good golfer down in Southeast Iowa.
You can look at him, just a fine athlete. Swing man. Daniel on the rebound.
There's the lead.
Bang! That's 11 for Daniel. Davenport 32-31. Assumption out in front. They set up the zone. Hopper Davis to Wingert. Davis tries to crash the lane. Beautiful move by Hopper Davis. 4 points for him on a couple of field goals. North leads 33-32 by 1 point for the second time. We're in the third period of play. 3A championship final. It's a dandy. Bryce McPherson. Blocked. Picked up by Daniel. Davis rejected it, but Daniel picked it up alertly. Tandeschi goes out, near side.
And will come back out and set it up again.
Breaks that, backs up and sets it up again. McGowan. Dockery, 18-footer.
And the lead changes.
7 points for Dockery. 34-33, Assumption back by 1. Davis to Wingert, looking in at Mitchell. Cochran. Davis trying to get some motion. Wheels it in there. Went out of bounds. A little bit too high.
You know, there's something else on the line here tonight, Mark. The longest consecutive win string by parochial schools in AAA history in Iowa was on the line. We had Wahlert win it last year and the year before. Bob Hansen led that Dowling team in 1979. 3 parochial wins in a row is a record, and that's on the line with Assumption trying to keep the string alive.
And favored to do it. Second ranked. Tasted defeat only twice this season. Check that. Only once this season. Just once.
Well, I guess you count the coming of the game yesterday, the semifinal, it makes twice. Could have been.
McPherson, the shooter. One of the few he's missed. Hopper Davis.
Hopper didn't want to gamble.
No. No, he saw Wingert down there. I think Wingert was pleading for the ball, but Davis didn't figure he could get it to him that quickly or that easily.
We're 2.5 minutes. There's
Picked off beautifully by McGowan. Careless pass by Hopper. Behind the back pass, Dockery. Undercut by Davis. The basket will count. Well, Davis picks up his first personal foul.
Hopper, that time, made the bad pass, then came down and also picked up the foul.
Yep.
Take a look at some action right here. Here we come. Hopper Davis backing up. There's the behind the pass McGowan. And you're going to see some beautiful basketball, but Hopper didn't get anchored. That's
we have a timeout on the floor. Now this word from your local station. Glenn McPherson and his Davenport Assumption Knights. What was a one-point ball game back and forth here for a few minutes. All of a sudden has turned to a 3 and possibly a 4-point game in favor of Davenport Assumption. There you see Coach Tom Goodman, who's pulling out the stops. He has put Vince Tillo back in the ball game. Now I'm sure he's told Tillo to be careful, but yet he cannot play so carefully.
It tells you something
that they strip him underneath.
He's a riverboat gambler, that Goodman, and he's going for broke on this one.
Dockery with a clutch free throw.
Well, the kid might play all the rest of the way. You'll never know unless you try.
Total of 7. The shot attempt. Air ball picked up, wheeling and dealing Wingert. Beautiful. That was Jeff Hanslow, a 5'11 junior, who pulled up and shot the ball, number 31.
Ernie Wingert, though, on that weak side rebound.
Hanslow has replaced Hopper Davis in the lineup. We're at 37-35. Assumption by a couple.
McGowan kind of have gotten to Hopper the last couple of times down. He'd become a real Hopper stopper.
McGowan from the outside.
Oh, he's having a tournament.
3 field goals for McGowan. He had 22 coming in, so he's a total of 28 points for the 3 games. But he has played so well, passing, rebounding, doing it all. Very impressed with him. So is this guy. This is Donaldson. The follow-up, Tillo lost it out of bounds. Donaldson was off the court when the ball came to him.
Yep.
They give it to Assumption.
Tillo was right in where the traffic was that time, though, battling 4 fouls or not. 95 seconds to go, third quarter.
The spread is 4. Assumption's ball. They could increase it. This is Steve Dockery, 20 points in the 81 tourney, as he was a starter last year, reserve on the 80 team. Their 3rd straight year here, both ball clubs. North could come again next year, and don't sell Assumption short. Tandeschi. The 6'4" senior gets his second basket. 41-35, a 6-point lead. Reaching in, yep, Dockery, his first.
And about the team third, so we're even on that score. 3 team fouls apiece.
We're in the 3rd period, 3A championship. Coach Tommy Goodman looking out at Hanslow and telling him, take it in, son. Move it down, let's get it in. Tillo up above the free throw line. Cochran, they go to Tillo, far side to Donaldson. Nice move, he puts it up. You saw Daniel trying to bang it away, but Donaldson got it in. That's just 14 for Donaldson.
Under a minute. As we said before, when Tillo's in there, Donaldson gets freed up along the baseline where he works best.
Hopper Davis getting ready to come back in for the Stars. McGowan handling it, gives it to Daniel.
They pulled it way out.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to play for what? We'll see. Nope.
A little bit of a collision, and they call the foul on Donaldson. His second.
Jeff Donaldson on that last one now has 61 points. That ties him with Fred Franklin of East Waterloo for the scoring leadership in this tournament.
Davis comes in, Hanslow goes out. That's a change for North. Tillo up against Dockery on the inbounds. Now they go to McPherson. Daniel, they might work it down to 1. They might. You get the feeling that if anything opens, they'll go. We're down at 20. McPherson, here the official talking about hands off. Lets everybody know they're watching. McGowan against Wingert, 9 seconds.
Boy, North putting on pressure.
Inside Daniel. He goes over the top of Cochran. It doesn't work. Dockery. It doesn't work. And the rebound comes off to Donaldson. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Davenport Assumption 41, Sioux City North 37. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Beauty on that shot and beauty on the floor in the form of a fine basketball game. The difference is 4. Sioux City North and Assumption. Assumption outscores North 16-15 in the third quarter. What was interesting about the third was that North led for the first time on 2 occasions. Tillo has 4 fouls, Donaldson 3, Tandeschi has 4 personals. North has out-rebounded Davenport 21-17.
Year ago when they played for consolation, North led Assumption 40-32 at the third quarter, and the team behind lost, or came on to win.
Poor tip. Donaldson has it. Gives it over to Hopper Davis. Cochran. Always looking inside to see if anything's breaking.
North Stars have their total first unit in for the first one of the few times.
Cochran can't get it. Beautiful rebound by Donaldson. Rejected by Daniel. Oh, look at that cauldron boil over. As coming up with his Tandeschi. He's playing with abandon as well, and as I said, he has 4. Why save it? We're down to 7:30. Tandeschi has 3 personal fouls.
And that should put them on the line, because that's team foul number 5 on North Sioux City. Davenport with only 3. You shoot on 5.
Donaldson picks it up, and that's his 3rd.
Steve Dockery with a big opportunity right here.
Donaldson with his 4th personal foul, not his 3rd. Okay, Dockery has been outstanding from the free throw line. 5 out of 6 here tonight. He has a total of 9. Off of the rebound, it is Tillo. Here come the Stars, 42-37. They're down by 5. Try to get it inside. It doesn't work. There's a battle for the loose ball. We're going to have a jump ball. Dockery and Wingert.
Ernie Wingert almost went up into the cheap seats over there. Well, they can have a look at it. They're going to battle for it down there. A couple of kids really struggling. Looks like wrestling. And the referee says jump ball.
Here we go. It's controlled. Donaldson. Sioux City North in the lane. Tillo over Daniels. It falls. (42-39), a 3-point ball game. Dockery with the left hand and the right against Tillo. McGowan picked up by Wingert. They set it up to McPherson, picked up by Hopper Davis. See the official complimenting the people. They go inside. Tandeschi stripped of the ball. Donaldson did the stripping. Beautiful defense. Went to his right. Donaldson worked it off. 6:25 left to play. 1-3-1 zone.
Boy, and everything gets important. One bad pass, a turnover, a foul. It can turn on anything.
Indeed, everything's critical in the championship game. Wingert. It falls.
Excellent effort individual.
It falls for Wingert. He has his 3rd field goal. 6 point, 42-41.
And we're down to 5 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the season.
Holding up his hand, denoting the offensive formation. Against a man-to-man defense. Inside Tandeschi over the top. Follow up Daniel. (13 points for Daniel. Hopper Davis front court. 44-41, a 3-point ball game. Assumption. Inside to Donaldson. Trying to go around Daniel. Cannot. Brings it out again. Hopper Davis handling. We're down to about 5:15 left to play. Underneath. The loose ball picked up by McPherson.
They're Dockery. Get that 10-second line.
Daniel. Into the front court to McGowan. Underneath to Tandeschi. Beautiful. McGowan's bounce pass right on the money. Tandeschi puts it up for his 6th point. 46-41. Cochran in the lane. Here on the near side to Wingert, around Daniel. Goes up.
Out of bounds.
He was out of bounds.
Daniel was protecting the baseline beautifully that time. That would have been so tempting for Daniel to have, at that time, given him a knee as he came by, but he made him force him out of bounds.
So with a 5-point lead, Assumption gets the ball. Time becoming a factor now. 4:40 left to play. McGowan to Daniel. He goes unchallenged. Missed the shot. They get the rebound. Tandeschi. McPherson, Dockery, McGowan. Inside to Tandeschi. Goes up. Big basket.
You betcha.
Tandeschi has hit a couple of big ones.
And you're halfway through the fourth and final quarter of this year.
That's Donaldson handling it on the far side to Davis. 48-41. 7-point ball game. North now sensing that it has some problems because of that time. 1-3-1 zone. This is Tillo. It's off somebody's foot. It's off the foot of North. They'll give the ball to Assumption.
We've announced the crowd tonight as 8,300 on Saturday night.
We have a timeout on the floor. Now this word from your local station. You're looking at Vince Tillo, the senior center for the Stars in isolation. As they go to him inside, and he comes over the top of Daniel for a basket. You know, Frosty, I think in the last minute and a half to 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, Assumption is doing a much better job on the boards, and
yes.
I think that's what's proven to be the difference on both ends.
I agree. I did some bookwork while during the break there. I said 8,300 are here tonight, and I think the total for the tournament in 10 sessions is just over 80,000. Last year was 84,292.
McGowan has it in the backcourt, working against Wingert. Brings it up to Steve Dockery. Dockery will try the shot. That one doesn't fall. The ball is battled for, and coming up with his Donaldson. He stepped out. And that's what's been happening, too.
Ooh, Tillo bounced that ball a little hard right in front of the referee right there.
Stars just appear to be that half step off. Whether it's either on the rebounds or out of bounds or making a mistake on a loose ball.
I'll be amazed if they aren't #1 rated at the start of the season next year.
Yeah, with 4 juniors coming back, Tommy Goodman's going to have an excellent team. But, of course, he's not thinking of that now. He'd still like this one, but it's getting tougher. 48-41. That's McGowan out there, and now gives it to Dockery.
They're in their offense. It looks like a little stall ball, but they're still going to shoot if they can get the good percentage shot. We are at the 3-minute mark and
that's
counting.
McPherson. He lost it, picked up by McGowan. So it's dug away, but Assumption comes up with it.
But
in there and almost stolen, but Daniel puts it up. He is fouled, and Cochran does the fouling.
And the clock definitely now comes into the game. At 2 minutes and 51 seconds to play. A 7-point ball game. And the big man that was the hero a year ago, the captain of the all-tournament team, is at the line.
And a hero this year in the Waverly game with that last-second basket.
Mike Daniel.
1 out of 2 from the free throw line so far. A 66%er.
I mentioned captain of the all-tournament team. The others last year were Gene Wohlert from Sioux City North, Dale Liebfried of Dubuque-Wahlert, Kent Kadich from West Des Moines Dowling, and Teddy Burbach from Dubuque-Wahlert. That was a year ago.
Daniel started out at Iowa City Regina. Went back to Assumption as a sophomore.
In fact, Chris Daniel, his brother, played on one of those great Regina teams.
15 points for Daniel. And those are 2 big free throws. It's now a 9-point ball game. Hopper Davis high into the air. He can't get it, Daniel.
Big board.
Yep.
Now you might see some strategy come in.
Tandeschi off the leg of Cochran.
With 2:32 to play, Davenport Assumption might become very, very selective.
Time now is very much a factor, and of course, favoring Assumption, and as Frosty suggests, they may use it. Tandeschi lost it.
Opportunity knocking right now for Sioux City North. 2 minutes and 31 seconds can be a long time.
Daniel's got to tie his shoe.
Catch his breath while he's doing it. I can't even bend over that far.
Daniel did not have big games in those first 2. He did enough to help to win, but he's had a big game here today. 15. A big game in the big game. Cochran. This is Donaldson. It's been a good zone. Traveling, they don't call it.
Wow.
Out of bounds. They're going to give it to the Stars.
Last year when these teams played for consolation, Assumption outscored Sioux City North 14-5 in the fourth quarter to win.
Shades of yesterday, huh?
Hey, they're having the big fourth quarter again.
It was 41-37 Assumption at the end of 3. Big steal by Daniel. He has played well. Took it away. It was intended for Donaldson. He saw it coming. Tandeschi in the front court. McGowan.
And you're under 2 minutes.
Tandeschi lost it, picks it. Nope, double dribble in the
You
lane.
bet. Hopper Davis was putting the pressure on. It would have been too long in the lane in about one more count had he not double dribbled.
It would appear there's not enough time left.
And you see Assumption just fall way back into his zone.
It would appear, I said. Donaldson, nice moves. I'll tell you, Donaldson around that baseline, he cut Waterloo East apart.
He's got radar.
16 for him.
Uh-oh.
They call it, and a technical comes up on Cochran.
Yep.
In his frustration, Cochran picks up a third, and he picks up a technical.
Well, Sioux City had one on the bench yesterday. This is a one shot. The difference being if it's on a player, it's one shot.
Bud, you want to move back out of here?
And the ball. If it's on the bench, it's 2 shots.
So we'll have the 1-and-1 first, then we'll have the technical.
So they could have 3 points and the ball.
And in all probability, the game. That's a total of 10 points for Dockery. He's hit 6 free throws. There's Tom Goodman.
I'll put him play over here, bud.
That's 11 for Dockery.
Got your key.
He has made 5 out of his last 6.
Now they could have anybody on the team shoot it if they wanted to.
Right.
Jeff
He's
Donaldson
on the line. Might as well keep him up there.
Donaldson had just taken the scoring lead in this tournament.
This way.
I think that was a dagger in the heart.
Yep. 10 points and the ball. 97 seconds.
Dockery taking it out.
Don't hold him.
In the backcourt, Davis. That's his second personal foul.
And you're where you have to gamble.
Yep.
2, 3. 2 shots.
They're going to give him 2.
Ruling it was a deliberate foul.
Yep.
That's 2, man.
This guy was an 80% free thrower during the season.
He has 10 points, 5 field goals. He's a 46%er from the field. So Bryce McPherson is a shooter.
His sister, Debbie, finished second in the state as a gymnast. Very talented young athlete.
This is the first of 2. Remember, he's getting a pair. Minute 36. It would appear the issue here is no longer in doubt.
And would appear for the 4th straight year you have a parochial AAA champion.
Wingert. The follow-up is by Cochran. His 4th field goal. Fine shooting tonight by Assumption. From the line and from the field. And that has spelled the difference. Tandeschi brings it out with 1 minute 8 seconds left.
Like a little air out of the ball right now.
Assumption's biggest lead was 11, and they had that just a moment ago. They led by 10 earlier in the first half. Lost the lead in the third quarter, come back to win it. Their fans are starting to whoop it up. McPherson, McGowan, and the foul, Wingert.
Be another 2-shotter.
Wingert has his second personal.
1.
Well, all Tommy Goodman can say is, I got closer. He got through the semifinals this year. But a young coach at 36 years old, I think will be back. Not to put the pressure on anybody, but only 1 senior in his top 8.
McGowan, 73%er from the line, looking for his 7th point.
McGowan, a little disappointed himself, but I've really been impressed by this young man in the tournament.
I have too, Mitch.
One left.
I thought he was the player of that team in the first 2 games, all around. He had 12 in the first, 10 in the second. He has a total of 7 points here.
Back up the truck.
Donaldson, super move, but doesn't get anything out of it. Tandeschi.
You can sack up the bats.
Yeah. I'm afraid you could have done that here over a minute ago. It became apparent that Davenport Assumption would be the 1982 3A basketball champion. The Stars came forward with a flurry in the third period. 1 point lead on 2 occasions. But Assumption would not be denied. They led at the end of the third, 41-37, and then break it open here in the fourth quarter. McGowan and Wingert.
14.
That's 3 on Wingert.
101.
So we'll watch McGowan. And now you can see McPherson relishing it. That bench is relishing it. Just rolling it around in their mouth. They can taste it. And of course, for Tommy Goodman, his staff, it's a bitter pill. That's 8 for McGowan. 11-point lead. Second time they've enjoyed it. They could win it going away. .18 seconds left. Hopper Davis, 15-footer. Davis over the back.
23.
That's his 3rd personal foul.
44.
The players starting to celebrate. You can see McPherson
101, 44.
and Dockery. Now Daniel. McPherson goes over to the bench, talks to his dad. 13 seconds left. Apparently now what's going to happen, I think they will remove the starters one by one. Bill Bush, 6'1" senior, comes in for McPherson. Bill Lamar, 5'9" senior, comes in. He replaces McGowan. They're pulling Dockery. And Dan Stoughton, a 6'4" senior, comes in. Tandeschi now is the only one who remains outside of Daniel, who's the shooter. Mark Thies, 5'7" senior, into the lineup. Tandeschi goes out. Daniel with 15. He gave them a big game when they needed it inside. .16 for Daniel. He has hit 4 out of 5 free throws. 57-45, 12, biggest spread. Make it 13. They pull Daniel. And replacing him is Mark Julian, a 6' senior.
Okay, you can run the baseline. 1, 2, 3.
Hopper Davis with the ball. The reason they rolled it up, of course, saved time. Wingert on the shot, fouled before the shot.
On the drive.
And that on Stoughton is his first personal foul. We have 9 seconds left. Wingert on the line. You can see Daniel and McPherson. Oh, it's great to win. And that was the 4th team foul on Davenport Assumption. They are not in the bonus. Sioux City North is not. Getting in another senior. That looks like Marty Ehrman. That's who it is. Tillo tried to put it up as lost. Running down is Mark Thies, trying to save it. Does. Picked up, no good. The ball game is over. That's the end of the 3A championship game. With the score, 3A champion Davenport Assumption 58, Sioux City North 45. We'll be back after this word from your local station. I think the entire Assumption school student body, the enrollment, rushed out on the floor. They're clearing it out there right now. And while that was going on, there was delirium. Coach Tom Goodman had his ball club around them. Some of them were shedding a couple of tears, and he was trying to console them, and I'm sure telling them, hey, there's next year. But Vince Tillo was emotional, too. For him, he knows there is no next year. We'll be back with the statistics after this word from your local station. The 3A championship is history. It belongs to Davenport Assumption. Mo Kelly, center court for the awards presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to honor the top 2 teams in Iowa in Class 3A. To present the trophies, 2 members of the IHSAA Board of Control. To my right is Keith O'Connell, Superintendent of Schools at Jackson Junction, Turkey Valley. To my near right is Dr. Ken Sand, current chairman of the board, the superintendent at Southeast Polk. Here's a team that has provided its fans and all of us here at the state tournament with a lot of thrills this season. A young team. I'm sure they'll be back. We'll look forward to seeing them back here. Number 2 in the state in Class 3A, Coach Tom Goodman and the Sioux City North Stars. And in their previous state tournament appearances, they have come so close. And this time, number 1, the Davenport Assumption Knights and Coach Glenn McPherson. And now the Sportsmanship Award, presented by the Iowa Daily Press Association, the Iowa Broadcasters Association, and the Iowa High School Athletic Association. And to do the honors, here's Jerry Brady of KGLO Radio Mason City, current president of the Iowa Broadcasters, and Mr. Verl Bergeson of the Ames Tribune, president of the Iowa Daily Press Association. Mr. Bergeson.
I think the sportsmanship demonstrated by the whole crowd has been tremendous. Why don't you all give yourselves a clap or a cheer, okay? The balloting has been completed, and the 3A championship sportsmanship trophy goes to Waverly Shellrock.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, what's left in basketball season 1982 is the all-tournament team for AAA. And to help with these awards to 5 young men being rewarded for their great play, one final time can we welcome to the state tournament our governor of longstanding, the Honorable Robert D. Ray. named to the all-tournament team. At a forward, Craig Werdinger from Waverly Shell Rock. And a repeater on the all-tournament team for the second straight year, last year's captain, Mike Daniel from Davenport Assumption. All-tournament, AAA, 1982, Vince Tillo from Sioux City North. And a young man who thrilled this tournament, all-tournament from East Waterloo, Freddie Franklin. And rounding out the all-tournament team for 1982 AAA, this young man led the scoring derby in AAA, Jeff Donaldson, Sioux City North. Okay, we're going to take a look into the huddle here. We can find the Knights of Davenport Assumption who've made it into the